Start video. Hello, can you hear me?
Hey guys,
Hello.
how's it going?
Good, not bad.
Sweet. Are you guys buried under snow?
No, actually, it's not that bad here, to be honest with
All right. We have plenty for the whole country.
you. Yeah. You're in the East Coast. You got it. I got a
Got
dump.
it. We got it. 38 inches at our airport.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw it was record breaking.
I think it's the biggest ever. Yeah.
is
It
it really?
doesn't quite have the same ring as the Blizzard of 78.
No,
Doesn't Blizzard of 26 doesn't like
doesn't sound as good.
it doesn't
No,
sound as cool. Yeah.
it'll catch on. It'll catch on.
100 years from now, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll tell my grandkids how
nice.
awesome it was. Well, it's great to connect again. Is it just the two of you guys
Yeah.
today?
Yep. It's David. I don't think
Yeah,
anybody's.
I'm on my own
Oh, David
computer.
is there. Okay, he's listening again.
Oh, hey, David.
Hey, David.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Yeah. So a couple continuations today. The plan was to review uh, well, we took a first pass at your story refinement, based on some of our findings, based on all that we heard. This is designed to be a first pass, so it's purely a draft stage right now. And if it's completely wrong, we misheard some things. If it sounds like, whoa, it's pretty good, it's headed in the right direction. That's what we want to hear. Even a line drive single is pretty good for us. So if we hit it out of the park, that's fantastic. Um, this is important for us because any sort of content that we create, any material that we write, any sort of marketing play, it's going to have words to it. And so those words are going to be built off of this foundation. And so it's going to be important to get this part right. And so the very next step is even the target 50 that we're addressing is, hey, where do they fall in line with some of this language and some of the story that we're developing? And then we have the scope that we did in our findings meeting that we want to review, make sure that we're working on the right things as we come closer to get closer to actually getting boots on the ground and start putting together some material for you.
Okay.
Cool.
I have spent a significant amount of time, probably 2.5 days, on that pain points and breaking down of the list. It's just significant because it's probably like 1,200 people that fall under those customers.
Yep.
So I'm going through it, but I have to go one by one. So it's giving me some time.
Sure. Yeah. Hopefully, this maybe even gives you some like framework and language for that. So that'd be good. Dave, please chime in anywhere along the lines
Yeah,
here.
for
And
sure.
Austin, anything else that I'm missing before we dive into stuff?
Um, yeah, I just want to highlight Peter on the top 50 targets. Appreciate you sending those details over in that spreadsheet. I will, if I don't know if you've been in it lately, but I have put together basically I took your CRM and brought together all of your contacts and those top companies. I took those top companies and then you gave me the in with percentage, which was really helpful, and put those top companies who have contacts in those as your top 50.
Is
Um,
that in the base camp or where is that at?
that will be in Basecamp. It should be, but also it can be found in email. I can
Okay.
reshare it in the recap.
Yeah, sorry. I've never worked in base camp before, so I clicked on a few things and I didn't really know where I was going. So
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I was just working in another, spreadsheet. Basically, it's probably very similar to what you were doing, but I just put in the categories were at the top of like who we were in with, who we weren't in with, who we've done bids for, who we've had jobs for. And then I was starting to type in pain points basically of
Yeah.
those people. So there's a few things that come to top of mind, just educational for you guys, is as I read through that, I'm reminded that stuff has changed, and that's one of the things that really makes this part hard. It's going to make it hard for you guys as well, but it definitely makes it hard for us. Is that often? I mean, we just updated this last fall because we did something like one of those an interseller e-blast or something like that, and a bunch of the stuff is not accurate anymore. Like I just looked at one that we got a bid from a customer not long ago, and he was on that list under somebody different, and so it's like it changes a lot, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. It's hard to explain. So they move around a lot, and yeah, so you got to constantly be updating it and changing it.
Yeah, and I just want to give you a visual of this before we jump into the brand story. Um, so just to give you a visual of what it looks like. This is um, the document that we've been working on, the 2026 top 50 target list.
Can you zoom in?
Yeah. And
You're on a
so,
wide, yeah,
huh?
you're on a wide monitor, so
Oh, yeah.
hard to see.
Do I need to zoom in more? Good.
I could see it fine.
Okay.
Yep.
So just to reiterate, you're not doing it for every single company per se. It's more or less for these segments. So those owners, those influencers, that's what you're addressing is the pain points of those specific segments.
Yeah.
And to
So
give you a visual, oh, yeah, go.
I was to say I did it, but I kind of did it a little bit of the reverse. So I have the companies, only the companies that are in the target top 50 or whatever. And then after that, I have the people, and then I tell you what their role is,
Mhm.
what it is that they did. John and I were thinking through, it's kind of for us, it's kind of more like the way that you have them segmented is I wouldn't really call them the same way. Like I don't know, like a general contractor might not be an industry partner, or a gatekeeper is definitely not a project engineer. It's hard to explain. The titles mean something slightly different to us. So we figured like if it's almost like there's three categories. There's kind of like um, owners, principals, directors. We wouldn't necessarily call those decision makers. Sometimes they're even out of the loop, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're even above the decisions. They don't even have anything to do with it. They don't even care. They have sway, they have influence, but they do not usually make the decision. Then below them are the property managers, facility managers, project managers, those types of people. Those are usually the decision makers, and where we're doing it because um, and then below them we have kind of like their younger people. John used the term lackey, whatever you want to call it, helper, assistant, gatekeeper, those types of people. And um, so that's kind of how I separated it, was one of those three categories. Now, some of the bosses, the owners, the principals, the directors are like so aloof they won't even respond to a call, an email, a text. They have nothing ever.
Hmm.
Until they need you. If they need you, then they might reach out to you. Most of them are that way, to be honest with you. Directors are definitely is the term in our industry. Just about everybody's a vice president, or so that's kind of confusing. So, anyways, that's kind of how we split it up. But I could show you. I don't. Can I share something on my screen or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I've ever done that. So
Yeah. Well, we can update these segments because I remember we talked about this last meeting.
Okay.
So we can update these, but generally the mindset would be with these is having a contact as the primary because that's who we're reaching out to, not just the company, but that person.
Correct, correct. No, I do
So,
have it broken down by that. I
okay,
just was
good.
saying that I only chose because we had like whatever 4,000 in our database, and we only took the 1,200 that were from those companies, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, and that's what I've done. I took your top companies with your percentage in with and
Yeah.
prioritized those. And they're segmented out by decision makers, influencers, and so on. So you can just have a visual, but I will pass this off to you.
Yeah, and Peter, when you're going through that, again, part of what we're learning is the terminology that you use for these people. So I might have called them, decision makers, and you're letting
Yeah.
us know that they're not the decision makers. That's fine. Help us understand
Yeah.
what you do call them so that we
Yeah.
get it on the same page as you. And then, as Austin was saying, um, if somebody is a decision maker, regardless of whether they switch companies, we do need to keep up with when they switch companies, but they will still likely be a decision maker at the other company with the similar type of pain points, is my understanding.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this is. Can you see my page now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is how I did it.
Okay.
The company are just obviously just sorted by the company, and then I have the actual contact. Then I have the title of whatever their title is, and then but I put higher up decision lowest. I wasn't sure what to use for that, but basically we kind of categorized them by that, and whether or not they were a past client was a yes or a bid is kind of what we
Mhm.
try to do. And I'm going through that. And then we're just kind of trying to make notes of the pain points so that you have that information. Is this kind of sort of what the information that you guys are hoping to get?
It is.
Okay.
I would say if it's taking you a long time with the pain points, the more specific, the better. But if it's taking you too long, you can kind of lump pain points together.
Yeah.
So you don't have to give us a pain point for every single individual.
Yeah.
If you say in general, there are like 3 to 5 pain points that the decision makers have or the property managers have, these are the 3 to 5 that we see consistently over and over again. If that saves you time,
I
then
thought about that, and I might still take the sheet of like this was I think we gave you this at some point in time.
Yep,
I
you
already
gave us
gave
that.
you that, right? And then you have this.
Yep.
I thought like, oh, I can go through each company and just tell you, hey, for first service, I can give you just a broad, like a 500,000 foot view about them, which I can do that. A pain point for all of first service. However, when I go to like, let's just use this one as an example, Bridge Industrial, Bridge Development, they're a company, they're a large commercial company. I mean, you can look through this and you can see we've actually done jobs for two of them. One and if this, but this gives you an example. Most of the people at at that company don't really know us very well, right? So they hardly know us, right? Only two of them have worked with us. Scott Gilbert, you can see we've done 13 bids and 10 jobs for him, but every one of them small. Nicest guy I've ever met, friendly, really likes us, but I don't think he has very much clout there. Then I go to the boss who runs the whole show. Her name's Trisha Mangoon. She's senior property manager. We did get two large jobs for her in 2021, but we didn't do them fast enough. She wanted it done started within 30 days of contract. So she got upset with us and then she pulled the contract. And so like I obviously that's affecting everything and everybody. We've tried every Christmas. I send her a Christmas card and blah blah blah, and I say, "I'm sorry. Would you give us another chance?" All this to say, the story on just two people affects the whole company. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
that makes sense.
so the other people may not know us. It might be better suited for us to try the other people first. I don't know, but so I thought there was value, even though it's a pain in the butt in my butt. It's taking me a bunch of time. There is value there. She was,
There's definite value there, and if you're willing to do that, I mean,
yeah,
the more the better. We just want to weigh, like you said, how much effort and time should we put into in order to get a result from that. But I think doing this up front, it will help in the long run. I think we just need to have a system in place for when these people change jobs or companies or move. That's kind of a secondary.
the other thing is that sometimes we're finding out information as we go, and we don't know that. Like for example, on our list, I think is Brookfield Properties. Um, Brookfield Properties, we're not sure whether or not they manage some of their own facilities or somebody else manages them for them. So it's hard to explain, but in the commercial market, there's companies that own their own companies and manage them, a la Prologis. There are companies that do what's called third party management. So Hiffman is a perfect example of that. They don't own anything. They work for REITs and they manage for somebody else.
Mhm.
So some of these companies, we see their signs everywhere, and we know that they have all sorts of buildings, and so we put them on these lists. But we until we start doing some research, we don't know for sure whether or not they would even ever entertain an RFP at all because they use a third party to be able to siphon stuff.
Sure.
So, anyways, I just want to make sure you understood that nuance a little bit too, because it's kind of important. So,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
helpful.
that's the sort of data that is so powerful in a CRM if we have all of those set up as I think ACT calls them functions, or it's like a property fields. So they call it fields, and we can add as many fields as we want to an
yes,
individual contact.
yep,
So
yep,
if we say, hey, we want to find, companies that are larger than X amount, and they do manage their own stuff, right? And we have specific messaging for them that we
Yeah.
want them to see. Here's the 35 people that we found in our database
But what I'm
already.
saying is that sometimes we don't know. I mean, and that's the other thing
Sure.
is like a lot of what we've found, and I want to be frank so you understand and you can make sure you clarify your message this way. A lot of what we're doing is trying to figure out whether or not somebody's a good fit for us
Yeah.
because we don't know. We think we know, but we don't know for sure, you know, and we may find out that somebody isn't, you know, like there's somebody on that list who I think got put on that list who I know shouldn't be Mortensen. They're like 99.999% union. We probably shouldn't waste our time with them. And so, um,
But
you
let's put
know,
that in the CRM. Like once we
correct,
find out,
Yeah.
correct.
mark them union and make sure that we're not
Yep,
wasting our
exactly.
time.
Yep.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's you can have a little bit of relief knowing that you've got some process going and you know we're learning more about those clients. We're getting more at bats with the right types of companies that we want to get in front of, and we're remembering. We're not forgetting anytime we learn a thing. Everybody's getting trained to make the CRM better and better.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, hopefully that was clarifying. Thanks, Pete, for the insight
Yep.
on the pain points. Thanks for working on that. That is just that's just the heavy load we have up front, so we can make things lighter
Yep.
going forward. So I
I think
appreciate
by
the
the end of the week it could be done. If hopefully that's enough, but I'm
work.
working towards that. A couple more days probably.
That's great.
Cool.
Thanks, man.
So this is a good time then to get your thoughts and feedback on story and where we're headed. Again, if this resonates and you're like, yeah, this is it, we like it, awesome. But if it's not, while you're working on that, we can go to round two and redraft some of these things as needed.
Sweet.
Cool.
Did you want me to share, James, or did you want to?
Oh, I could do it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, let me dive in here. All right, story and brand review. So we'll go through some brand audit. We'll go through some messaging and story. Um, Not really naming here, but first brand exploration. So we use a tool. This is our tool that we've put together called the Brand Spectrum. This is a tool basically from a scale of 1 to 10 where your brand falls, and so that could be. Uh, on it doesn't have any correlation to quality. It's all about um, how your brand feels, the tone. So all the way on the right side of the spectrum. So I'm just getting this ready here. Here we go. So on the right side of the spectrum, you have cool, high tech, maybe maybe a little bit more bold, a little bit more. Um, Maybe a little bit more standoffish, a little bit colder. On the left side, you have warm, friendly, inviting. Those are pros of being on the left side, and then the negatives might be colorful, childish, you know, immature, maybe. And so this is the everybody kind of wants to be in the middle, but we've designed it so you can't really be a 5.5. You have to be sorta on the left, sort of on the right, very on the left, very on the right. Does that make sense? Yeah. Here's some examples of brands that I think are really good examples in these categories. Like far left, Life is Good, Ben and Jerry's. They do a good job of being on the left. They're warm, friendly, cartoons. Even the names of their products are very playful. They're fun. And then all the way on the right side, Uber's a great example of a 10 company. They've kind of outwardly has said, you can't wait to not have people anymore. We're gonna have, you know, driverless cars, and it's all glassy and black and white and like small text. And then you have these big box stores in the middle, Walmart and Target in the middle. But you can notice here, Walmart is slightly left of Target in their positioning. Target is slightly right. You know, they're a little bit classier, a little bit more high end. Walmart feels a little bit more, you know, every person. Dunkin', if you look at coffee, Dunkin's definitely on the left. Starbucks is more on the right, maybe not a 10, but they're certainly 7 or 8. Um, Cars are a great example of this. Mercedes, higher end cars are going to be on the right. Uh, Volkswagen's a good example on the left. Volvo. I think Volvo's tagline was love for several years, right? Does that make sense where the how the branding kind of
Oh,
sits against the competitors? Okay. Um, where do you think integrity is today?
well, it's I can see on the left hand screen down. Unfortunately, it's
Oh,
just
okay.
cheating,
You're
cheating. But
cheating. You're cheating.
I would lean towards saying we would be more towards a little bit more towards the right. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, when I look at your competitors, this is kind of how I would map them a little bit. Sherwin and Stride, I feel like are they're a little bit smaller. They feel a little bit. I did kind of rank these in quality a little bit. I like PPD's branding. The badge looks the at least visually, the badge looks good. This has more to do visually than it does, their full brand, which we'll talk more about for integrity. But I think this is where integrity kind of has a spot to play. A little bit more bold, a little bit more. Takes a little bit more of a stance. Feels a little bit grittier. I keep thinking like Milwaukee Tools or like that kind of group. Let's see, not quite Nike, maybe a little bit left of Nike. Does that make sense?
sure,
Yeah, John, you agree with that back there?
sure.
Okay. All right. So keep that in mind just for tone, and then we'll walk through some writing here that hopefully backs this up. So you can hear it in just the way that the story comes together, that we're kind of leaning a little bit more right, maybe even more right than certainly competitors may speak. Oh, by the way, I'll mention this too. There's nobody super high end, in your world. There's nobody like who's a 10. You almost have to kind of redistribute this graph for your industry, right? There's nobody who's too childish and colorful and playful on the left here either. So um, yeah, in
Yeah.
this kind of middle area, we want you to push a little bit further right.
So we just gave you some random, three, four, five people that we kind of go against,
Yeah,
but depends on who the customer is we're talking about. Like,
sure.
like this happens to be Prologis, for example, which is one of our
Hmm.
better customers. They use these people, but downtown Chicago, we see Sherwin. We rarely see Stride, Painters USA, or PPD. Sometimes PPD, but we see Redline, and we see a couple. So each sector has something
Hmm.
a slight bit different. Um,
Yeah.
there are some union shops, and there are some that are very high end that I would consider even to be like a 10. There's one called Hester Decorating that's downtown, and all they do is just like uber high end, like interior foyers at in multi-million dollar, just a foyer, for example, and they do gold leafing and stuff like that. So we're not that.
Yeah.
College Pro. Yeah, and then on the far left hand side would be like College Pro painters, they call them.
Yeah. I
College.
had a friend who did College Pro.
Yeah, so College Pro is rather whimsical, rather, you know, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So you get it.
kids, basically, and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. So um again, this doesn't pertain necessarily to quality. And
yeah,
so if we put
yeah,
College Pro up here,
yeah,
I still think integrity belongs kind of in the
yeah, yeah,
slightly right, maybe pushing the edge a little bit. Not quite hoity-toity, but
yeah.
on the right side for boldness, right? Like taking a stance on things. All right, so let me try to go through this again. I'm gonna preempt one more time. This is a draft. We want to hopefully we get close. In the right ballpark would be nice. So where we start off on the writing is what we call the core pillars, the start with why. This is a book by Simon Sinek. Start with why. So why, how, what. You familiar, Pete, with this?
Yes.
Okay, great. Um, John, if you don't know, this is just um, the principle here. Why everybody knows what they do. They paint, they sell shoes, shoelaces. Good companies will talk about the how, the process, the legacy, the way they do things, and then the best companies start with why. So it's the emotional part. You can also think of it as the heart, the head, the hands, the how do I feel, what do I think, what am I doing at the end of the day. So why, how, what. So what we're gonna do is take a stab at writing a position statement for each of these. So position on the why, position on the how, and position on the what with a little bit of payoff story. Again, the hopefully it's close, but if something stands out to you, we'll highlight it and say this is great. If something's like, oh, we would never say it like that, and we don't want to say it like that, then we'll cross it out. Okay, here we go. So the why, the painting partner you won't replace. You're not buying paint, you're buying the end. You're buying the end of the vendor revolving door, the calls, excuses, misstates, and we'll swing back next week. We'll keep clients for 10 to 15 years because we show up like a long-term vendor, not a one-off crew. When the same people keep showing up season after season, your building stays sharp, your schedule stops wobbling, and you get your week back. Reliable work is leverage. No more babysitting. At the end of the day, this is kind of one of the core unique things that we heard for integrity. Let me read through all of them and you can give the feedback at the end.
Okay.
How? Inspection like we paid for it. We don't wait for the final inspection. We inspect before we're asked with one standard. If we wouldn't cut the check for it, it isn't done. That's why we get called when the last painter got kicked off and where our people stick around. This is painting with integrity. Our process. I love doubling down on the word integrity, almost as if we're saying that these other guys don't have it, but we don't. We would never say it that way. We're just kind of alluding to how we have it, and we have it a lot, and we're doing it. We're going the extra mile, for getting it done right. And at the end of the day, the final touch isn't an afterthought. The details don't get handled later. They get handled before you even notice them. Crisp lines, clean cuts in, tight edges, cover floors, protected fixtures, and a closeout that doesn't leave you hunting for missed spots. Services beyond painting that keep buildings fresh throughout the year. This is integrity painting. A painter that you won't replace. The way we do it, we're inspecting like we paid for it. And the final touch isn't an afterthought.
Okay.
Close?
What do you think, John?
Sing- Single?
Yeah,
Double?
to digest it. I would say, let's see, the why, the first one, sounded the best out of all of them.
Yep.
The how,
Truest?
yep. The how was second best, and then the what was the last, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
There
So
was
that was the only one that seemed to me like it could use a little bit more refinement.
there was a thought on the what that we wanted to tie in some of the activities that you do in the winter just to remind people,
Yeah.
what those are.
I
And
just,
obviously, this is like such a microcosm of your work. Oh, one
yeah.
last thing. Core pillars. These are mostly internal, and so these are kind of truths that are hopefully accurate about the brand. It kind of gives you a good test of, hey, does this sound like us?
Yeah.
Is this something that who we would want to become? Yes, then great. And if there's something wrong or like, no, we want to talk about this offering more, or we want to talk about the way we do things for this piece, whatever the specific is, we want to kind of throw it in there so that we can share this with the team. Like, hey, this is important for us. This is kind of how we're
Well, this
envisioning the
seems
story
like
come
this
together.
is far more like at the center of it all. This isn't a specific, but like if you look through the canned emails that we sent off, like there are times in the season where we're asked something specific, like for the
Yeah,
winter for this. So that this is different than that, though. Obviously, this is setting the
sure.
framework, like the pillars, like you said, of everything. So
You got it. Yeah,
yeah,
100%. All right, let's call it mostly good, needs some refinement.
yep,
Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
I'll take it. Awesome. So the next part of this is to see this in in real life. How does this all come together? One of the best places to do that is what we call the True Line. True Line is it's basically your homepage copy. We're suggesting that your homepage can right now your homepage True Line is we meet and exceed your expectations with trusted expert painting solutions for commercial buildings and multipurpose. That's your True Line. It's a little long. We'd love
yep.
to get a little bit shorter, a little bit punchier, a little bit closer towards where we're heading with the
Okay.
brand tone.
Okay.
Um, and so here it is. The painting partner you won't replace. We keep clients for 10 to 15 years because we inspect before we're asked. If we wouldn't cut the check for it, it isn't done. So your spaces look finished from 10 feet and 2 inches with closeouts that don't leave you chasing missed spots. That's painting with integrity. I love ending with the call to action too of some sort of offer. Right now, your call to action is committed to our clients, which doesn't sound like a call to action.
Okay.
I think that goes to your about page to learn more. I always
Okay.
love to have hey, here's our closeout checklist. I think we talked about this in our kickoff. Like we do 110 point inspection, or whatever it is, 51
Yeah.
point
Yeah.
inspection.
Sure.
Um, and you can download it and give us your email. We'll send it to you. We'll text this to you so you can see it. And whoever, the second best painter that you're using doesn't have this sort of checklist, right? So we get some leads in potentially. Sound like, and you can hear the story kind of closing in and being used in a way that is represented outwardly.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, last up is a lot of detail that we won't go into. We can spend a lot of time on this, but I'll just kind of leave this for you so you can review it. Is the story brand. We talked a little bit about this in developing the story. Um, Story brand is great architecture for developing a story for businesses. This architecture is the framework of every great story you've ever heard. So every Disney movie, every Star Wars, a character has a problem. They meet a guide, gives them a plan, calls them to action, and it results in success or failure, comedy or tragedy. And the cool thing is businesses can use this framework to resonate with people in story as well. But what they normally get wrong is that they talk about themselves too much. They make themselves the hero. And so they talk about their own problems, they talk about the people they work with, and then it kind of gets scrambled. But there's something magical that happens when the character is actually your client. So, put the building owner there, or let's say building manager, right? They're the character. You address their problems. Like, I hate having to, you're right. If I go with the lowest bidder, there's a chance that I'm going to need to change my vendor 3 times, by the end of this. I don't want that. So they meet a guide. You are the guide. You're not Luke Skywalker. You're Obi-Wan or you're Yoda, right? You are the one that helps them through this process, gives them the plan, makes it clear, calls them to this single action, which might be, hey, let's do a first inspection, let's do a walkthrough, let's have a first call, and then paint the picture of what success can look like for them and what failure looks like if they don't work with you. It's a powerful process here. So what we did is we ran through this with that story lens and talked about each of these parts. So property and facility leaders responsible for buildings that have to look sharp, run on schedule. What do they want? When are they ready to buy? What have they tried already? What's their external, internal, and philosophical problems? Um, what are the stakes for them if they do nothing, if they win? Um, who are you? Why do you have empathy here? What's the authority? We're leaning into that 10 to 15 year storyline there. Um, Differentiators, inspection like we paid it. Let me bold these out for you. Pre-close discipline, clean site professionalism, failure recovery capability, and
Yeah.
repeat program thinking. Taking some of the language that you guys have used and putting it in the places that we think make the most sense here. So here's the plan: start, build, win, and call them to action. So here's that initial walkthrough. Here's that checklist, and here's how we reframe objections, brand scripts, and then outlines. So again, there's a lot of stuff. I don't want to read through every word for word, but lots of stuff to consider here as you go through it. But there's a lot more verbiage here that gets applied to some of the materials that we'll put together, some of the landing pages, some of the emails, some of the content.
So you want us to go through this and write over something that potentially may not apply or might miss the mark a little bit, or you want us to just note what that is to give that back to you? What's the best way to do this?
Yeah, highlight the things that you like, cross out the things that you don't.
Okay.
I think that's good.
Okay.
Dave, you agree? Anything else that they could save or
Yeah, you can highlight, yeah, like James said, if there's a nuance that we just need to be aware of. So you're like, it's the statement is halfway there, maybe you could make a note or a comment. Um, so yeah, anything that you think would help us when we're writing website copy, email copy, and all that sort of thing. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
cool?
All right. No problem. We can do
Okay,
that.
great. Yeah, a lot of ground to cover, but wanted to give you kind of high level draft of it, and we'll refine this as we get some of the some of that information on the targets back, and then
Okay.
that's our first campaign. Austin, you have that the points outline, the scope outline. You're
You're
on mute.
muted.
You're still muted.
Sorry. Thanks, Dave. I heard you the first time and I was like, wait, didn't process it. Uh, so I do have it. Do you want me to send it to you on in the chat real quick, or do you want me to show?
You can show it.
Okay. Okay. So this is the drafted points that we proposed in the findings meeting with James. Um, and just to highlight, just this is just a good timeline, just showing, okay, what are we doing now? What are we doing in the future? What do we want to do in the future? Um, and just to remind you, this timeline is something we can adjust. Um, and you'll see in the top right here is your points for each. That's just your budget for each month going forward. And we can utilize with this story refinement. This will allow us to do a lot of this stuff. Because once we have the story nailed down, our language nailed down, we able to plug in copy that would align with that story and that brand. So once we have that, once we get that lift knocked out, we'll be able to do that, and the CRM will do the same. That's where we'll be able to fill in our email campaigns, stuff like that, and workflows in the future, whatever plan we have to go forward.
Yeah. And we, just a reminder, we accelerated that monthly budget in the first 4 months, basically taking the last 2 months and putting it towards the first 4 months so that we're doing 50% more so that we can knock some of these things out and get you set up as fast as possible.
Okay.
Um, so we've got that workflow creation. Looks like March, April is like when we're estimating to put together your first campaign, get it sent out, start to run some tests there. By then we'll have that CRM segmented. Yeah, we have that lead research, the target 50 list ready to go. We have some offers for them. We have some edits to the site that we've made, completed. Your story's refined. So I think
Sure.
we're on schedule. That's the as but this is flexible. One of the reasons why we do points is, hey, we really like to do, I don't know, if you're looking at this list, email campaigns. Great. Let's move that forward. We'll push one of these things out. As long as we're planning about a month ahead, then it'll give us
Yeah.
enough time to readjust.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I have a hard time. I mean, until we get to a point where we settled down and tried some stuff, which we're not doing that yet, obviously, right? It's hard to determine. So, like we've said before, spring is bid season, and then end of summer, early fall would be another round of a much smaller bid season, but perhaps as equally as important, if not even more, because that's the winter work. So
That's right.
those are two seasons that we just have to consider. But until we get all this stuff, I understand you have to get that settled and that stuff done, and then we have to test it out and try it and
Yeah.
see what works and what doesn't work, and so on and so forth. So
Yeah. You got it, Pete. We did talk about that internally. Dave, if you want to speak to that, we were talking about some specific campaigns or just kind of a concerted effort for winter, making sure that we have some things planned and set up
yeah.
to try to win some more work for winter.
Yeah, tell me again um when does the bid season for the winter jobs start roughly?
Say, what would you guess? Somewhere between September, October, November?
We can be on the radar in September, October.
Yeah, September, October is he said is the best. September, October is probably the best.
Yeah, we should be well established by then.
Okay, good.
With the target list, the case studies we're putting together, the messaging and campaigns for those.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yep, that's good. So, all right. So, if I'm hearing it correctly, I'm going to continue to work on the sheet that I have for the pain points, and then you want us to also go through what we just read and highlight again some of the good stuff, crisscross, whatever, cross out some of the bad stuff, and put in some additional verbiage. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, we can do that.
And I also just on that pain points, just to reiterate, what we're looking for are commonalities and pain points within those segments. And if you could, in those in the and I'll share it one second. In this section, maybe just put a comment about, okay, owner VPs, they're not really decision makers. They're so and so.
Yeah, let us know what you want to call them
Yeah.
so we're all on the same page.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should.
Because always all that we're doing here, if it's just a flop and switch, we can do that.
Yeah.
Because you said that these are decision makers. Oh, well, we just shift them over. That's great.
Yeah.
Great clarity on that. So, but this is the general drafted plan we have for the future, as we're moving forward. So if there's anything, for example, say we're not feeling social media in the future, we're not ready to do that. We want to just focus on email campaigns. Let us know. That's something you'll have access to this. I will send that in the recap, and I'll also have it on Basecamp. So there'll be two places for you. And if it's helpful, I can send you just a little bit of a rundown about Basecamp, just to give
Yeah,
you.
maybe. I mean, but I don't mind just doing it in a spreadsheet if that's fine with you. If that's okay with you, it doesn't matter to me.
Whatever works for me, or whatever works for you, whatever works for you, not for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can do either.
Okay.
So this will live in two places.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the current plan for now. So in March, we should be finishing up the CRM build and segmentation, workflows, web updates, if there be any, email campaigns, and then we'll start picking up social media cadence in May. So we can push that forward if we wanted to, vice versa.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, if you feel like everything's put together next month, maybe it makes sense to move it to April and May and June. Some of the stuff if we can, because towards the end of the summer, it's more of a catcher's mitt than it is a pursuit. A lot of the stuff is, I mean, it's not to say that there isn't a job that pops up here and there and whatever, and bids still keep coming in. But your time to remind people to please put you on the massive RFP list and all that stuff is literally February, March, April. That's when it is. So we're already a little bit behind that gun. So, but I guess it all depends on how far along you get, how quickly we can all make some of these other things happen. So
Yeah. Well, the other thing that'd be helpful if we get into a rhythm and together in our cadences, you won't feel it as much during the busy seasons.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of thinking. Dave, what are you thinking on that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just an example.
And and again, we're still early and working together. I want you to, everybody on the team, Pete, John, if you're thinking about, gosh, this part's really frustrating. We're doing these bids and we keep doing XYZ over and over again. I wonder if Figments has a way to do this faster, easier. Can we automate this? Can we make this simpler? Probably, like maybe. So bring those to us, as it relates to talking to the leads, having those sales discussions, putting together the proposals, whatever that process looks like, because we can slot that into. And yeah, we want to make it effective where, 4 months from now, 6 months from now, you're like, this is great. This is getting done. This is getting done. We're doing less of this stuff. We're focused more on these other activities. Right.
Yeah.
We'll be your partner.
okay.
Cool. I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Thank you guys.
yeah, going forward, guys, we will continue to work on this. We'll wait for your feedback on the store refinement slides. Once again, you'll get that in the recap, and have that link. And we'll continue to, once we get the pain points and then a clarification on those segments on who are those decision makers and so on. Yeah, we'll be that much closer. I just want to do a final touch base on this with the interseller. You brought that up, Pete, in our email. That right now we don't want to get rid of interseller until we have another solution to consider.
Okay.
So let's just keep it for now. And if there's something that we think would be better, let us know. Is there a
No, that's
renewal
just month
coming
over
up?
month. That was
month,
just month
okay.
over month. And it's whatever. I showed you so it's not a terrible amount. I just thought it's stupid to just be paying for it if we're not
Yeah.
going to ever use it. So if you want to use it, and you think it makes sense, we'll keep it, no problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. All right. So we'll plan for we want to plan for 2 weeks from now for another meeting.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
These updates, get things in before.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you guys very much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Thanks,
Good to
guys.
see you guys.
Thank you.
Have
See
a
ya.
have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Yeah.